Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to the live stream here for Monday, the 24th of March. It's good to be here. It's good to have you all with us. Make sure to give the stream a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got markets to talk about, stocks, commodities, and cryptos coming your way, and of course a big gap. And boy, oh boy, is it a big gap. Look at this one, guys. Up 1.2% coming off the back of our slight bullish pivot, you'd have to say, back down in here. And of course, the weight of evidence starting to improve towards at least this green number here, which is the daily 200. We'll talk about that throughout today's show. 1.43% up on the NASDAQ. We got 1.27 on the Russell 2000. And we have 4.32% on that sneaky Ethereum. I'm sure a few of the other crypto coins are probably up as well. So, not a bad day. If you're bullish, if you're bearish, you're probably saying, what the hell is going on here? Why is this market up? And I think a lot of it was due to the dark pool that was placed at around this price down here on Friday, the weight of evidence, and obviously the end up of a nice bullish hammer, and then gaps and gets a bit of this flow. Now, the question will be, I guess, for everybody here is whether we're going to fill the gap. So I'd love to know in the chat right now, what do you guys think? Are we going to fill this gap pretty quickly? How many days do you guys think it'll take? Is it today? Are we going to reject and just get absolutely smashed? Are we going to hit the 200 first? Are we even going to fill this gap? Because this is going to be a fairly substantial one with a 1.22% rally. I think that at some point it's kind of pointing towards coming back down at least. So good news is daily 200 kind of buyers, people that are looking for that 5770, that seems kind of very likely, or at least pushing towards that level. Going to hit the daily 20 as well. And we do know that all of these levels up here will matter, but it's very traditional to hit the 200. Now, we'll quickly go through it together. And let's give a shout out also to the people that were earliest here today. We've got Kevin, we've got Dave, we've got Wayne, we've got Michael, we've got Alan, SMP, Matt B, Sim Sam, Professor G, Clace, Holla, Joe. I like that. Hola. With like a picture of a, I don't know, some type of bird. Kind of looks like a kookaburra. Very good. All right, let's have a look at the daily 200. Now, the reason I want to mention this is because oftentimes when you come back through it, you will find it as resistance. Now, over here, we sold and we rallied back up. Let's have a look at previous times when we dropped through. Resistance, I would say, actually got up a little bit more than you'd expect. It obviously rallied straight into the 200 though and found resistance. First touch is the key here. First touch always should be the one you look at. Here we have a sell into a rally around the 200 and of course further sell from 2020. We have another fall through here back in 2018 where we instantly quickly rallied back up into it. Multiple, of course, demand finds, which is to be expected. A lot of good ones there. And then we come back over here to the 200 and start kind of like scrapping around that level, ultimately falling through. 200 instantly broken, but quickly picked back up. And again, a lot of touches that come back from the past. So the 200 is a pretty important indicator. I always like to look at it and say, well, should we come back up to it? That was pretty much, I think, in our thesis together that we came up with. So I was very happy with that. And I'm very happy with where we're at right now. But the question then becomes, are we going to find the recessionary path or the bull market return path? Now, we do know that on April the 2nd, I believe, we're going to find out some more stuff about tariffs. I also think that, you're going to hear so much about this news. And I want to mention, I actually posted over on X this particular little chart here, which has a bit of interesting information. And one of those things is that we have seen very high tariffs back like 100 years ago. And while that's been reducing in the US for a very, very long time, obviously spiking during Trump's first outing there, then we see here the expectations of where the street believes it could get to. And I guess, it puts it a little bit in perspective. It's always important to kind of take a step back and also to say that, like, if it's in the press, it's in the price. Oftentimes, when we freak out into an event, you'll oftentimes find that the markets will buy that rumor, or at least they will buy straight after it. So let's say coming into an event, the news is turning more and more negative. the event comes out, very good chance you'll actually get a bounce off that event. You're oversold into it. In this case, what's happening is we're getting up to an event and we're finding a buy the rumor. So that is people are saying, well, probably not going to be as bad. And that can then spill into, of course, a sell the fact, which is something that we need to be paying attention to. If you do want to have a level for what I think is going to be potentially a bear bust, and that is a recessionary path, I think if we get like this and we go down like that, and we're sitting in May and we're sitting under 5,400, I would be kind of freaked out about the US market. What do you guys think? Would you be freaked out at that point? I would say that would not be a good sign at all. So far, so good, though. Things are coming back here at this stage. US 100 futures up strongly. That's right, Whale. They certainly up. Buy the dip. Fed put. Seasonality brings it up. Yes, in this case, seasonality that we brought in on our weekend video. Certainly very, very happy. Oscar says Australia rocks. Appreciate that. You're a legend. Good evening. Thank you very much, Adrian. And we've also got Bart Simpson joining us here. Hello, Bart. What's up? No, hey, Tal. What's going on? Very good. Kookaburra is right, my man. Yeah, it's all right. We know about kookaburras. I just couldn't see it on the little picture. 3 years of talking about recession. That's right, truly. And that's what you've got to always go with. Is it's a wall of worry. Remember, markets can't go up on everyone feeling great about everything. We have to perceive either a recession, we have to feel a recession, or it truly is a recession. But in general, when people are talking about recessions and markets are going up, you should generally be celebrating that pretty hard, because that is actually the perfect situation. Monetary Flow says here, do you feel that things you've learned in trading has impacted your view on society, politics, and economics? Absolutely. One of the most insightful things you can think of is trading and investing in some ways. And you might say, what the hell are you talking about? You're just looking at candlesticks and structure and talking about stuff. But realistically, you can see when you start getting better at investing, it's particularly my advanced course, I share this a lot. You can actually see where society's heading. You almost get future predictive in some ways of where we're at, what you need to be paying attention to. And most importantly, you get a control on yourself that's a little bit more important. You'll notice on this channel, we do things a little bit differently. And by the way, thanks very much, guys, for getting us over 200,000 subs. It's a very big number. I very much appreciate that. That's thanks to you guys. But what I'm getting at here is that when you think about it, when you're looking at trading and investing, temperament is the number one word. You know, I always go on about this. And you'll notice that we try, I mean, you might say, Tom, you're bullish biased, mad person. Why can't you see the recession? You might have that biased opinion. But for me, I always say, well, let's let the flow, let's let the market decide the move. And that's not to say we're not going to find some data edge. That's not to say we're not going to go and find that seasonality that we want to find and stack it on top, or the price action indicators that obviously give us edge or anything like that. This is all very important. But at the same time, it's not worth paying attention to this component here, because you will get mutilated doing that. And that's why I said at the start of 2025, the end of 2024, this year ain't going to be easy. Now, why is it not easy? It's because if you actually do feel, and I'm just going to say here, if you feel either side of the political spectrum, it's very important that you don't have a bias that trades or invests based on that. You're going to have to bring it back in to trying to neutralize yourself. Very tough to do. Very tough to do. I appreciate that. Has he covered Tesla yet? No, I haven't covered Tesla just yet, but we will. Geez, what time frame? What time is it where you are? 7:44 a.m. EST New York. It's 10:46 p.m. Man, from Australia, you got to trade the late night. Well, I actually like the close the most, but yeah. You guys probably already know this. All right, so here are the options high and low levels. We've already hit the options high for the day, which usually holds 68% of the market. We're going towards the daily 200. We're obviously entering into that danger zone. Personally, I would usually not buy around this zone. I think it's a waste of time. If you're already in, happy, smiley face, I guess. But if you're not already in, yeah, it's not really the point I would buy. Now, let's have a quick look. Let's actually grab a indicator here. We're going to go over fixed range volume profile and bring it on the way down. What you're going to notice is you get quite a lot of transaction through this point. I'm using the futures markets here, the spot. But see how you get this really heavy hit around 57, which just so happened to be also the daily 200 as well. and a few other things. Well, I think all of this is kind of waning into or coming into this point where you're going to say, well, wait a second, I've got a lot of stuff starting to stack here. Another thing that I want to stack is a fib. So we haven't even come back up to a 38.2 fib. And what you'll notice again is they all start stacking on top of each other. So I truly think we're in the danger zone for the bulls. Now, that's not to say that I'm not happy to be here and it's good, but this is where if I think a bear's going to start pushing through, the next 1% on the S&P is kind of where I feel like the bear may put pressure on it. Now, if we do keep flying high, obviously the next step for the market could be a 61.8 fib retracement. That is the entirety move here. And this would actually spark a very solid potential that we're not going the recessionary path just yet. Okay. And I'd rather that. I know a lot of you would say, I want it to recede. This sucks. But at the same time, I'd rather it doesn't just yet. I think there are things to happen in the future that still point towards the upside. So, yeah, I think we're in the danger zone. I'm pretty sure most of you can just see that. I could actually stack another 6 things on this to say that it's a bit of an issue. S&P says 2 and 10 year inverted a few months ago. It's traditionally reflagged a recession around now. Now, this is a great point. And what this has got to do with is the uninversion of yield. Okay, so it's not inverted, it's the uninversion, I guess, is what you're getting at. So we'll just do this one together so you guys can see it. And this is the uninversion. So we uninverted, so we pretty much uninverted back here. How long ago now? 1 second, I'm on the 4 hour. I'm on the 4 hour, waste of time. There we go. So when we go underneath 1%, we uninvert. And we did that in September of 24. So basically, we uninverted around this period. Now, traditionally, 6 to 18 months later, we find ourselves down the recessionary path. And I always say that back here, I mentioned this point. And I said, well, look, you can't ignore this. And when no one wants to talk about it, it's very important that you always remember it. And this is partially why, I've said 2025, 2026, particularly 26, are going to be incredibly tough years. Could be actually a full recession. And the main reason is because statistically, that's more likely based on these types of reads. So you're not wrong there at all. We got to see a Zach AXA or something coming in 4:46 a.m. and you are on I assume, the west coast of the US. So that's pretty damn early. Can you please analyze fib levels on the upside, possible resistance levels? Funnily enough, we did that. So you must be on top of things here. And Luca says here, amazing work, Tom. This is where the knowledge and work ethic meet. I appreciate that, man. We've done some good videos over the years. I think I actually did the numbers on it with something like, including live streams and private streams and all sorts of things. I must be on about 2,500, which is pretty epic. not too low, not too high, I guess. Not to say some of you guys probably don't work even more than I do. And you know what? It's important actually not to work that much. You don't want to be getting your ass kicked 80 hours a week or anything like that. And I certainly don't do that. Black Swan excrement, says Dono. Okay. Sean says Ethereum is trash. Sean, why you hate it, man? Why you hate it, Sean? We're just going to bring you up here. You love Ethereum. I know you do. Watch a bunch of people go long right out of the gate and get smashed when the data comes out 15 minutes into the open. Yeah, so that brings up the next point. So let's go back to the US. Actually, we'll go to the NASDAQ because I know you guys like to do a few other analysis points. You can see here again, daily 200 sitting at around this 20,300 area. Supply, big trades around there, obviously starting to get into the danger zone of the bull end. So certainly is there. Now, the data that everybody's talking about, or at least was mentioned there, is this one up here, which is the PMI. And that's going to come out at 9:45 New York time. Okay, so it's the flash manufacturing PMI. Now, to be real, I don't really pay that much attention to these numbers. And you might say, but Tom, that PMI is a big deal, man. It's a big deal. And I would say, do you remember 2 months back what the PMI data result was? And the answer you're going to say is no. And that is exactly why you don't need to pay attention to most of this. It's a stacking of numbers that makes a big difference. over like a year, there are very few economic news indicators you'll ever remember. Obviously, you have to start paying attention to which ones really matter. These ones, they're all designed to do one thing. You're actually going to hear me talk a lot about this year. They're all designed to impact us with fear. If you think about it, when you see, and I want to say this, when you see a news event, do you ever feel, wow, I'm feeling super greedy? Or do you feel generally fear? And I'm very interested for science in this case, or for whatever our poll. I'm interested to know what you think. Here we go. We're going to do the poll on this. When news is coming out, do you generally feel? And then here we go. We're going to find out. This could be for earnings as well. There we go. All right. So if you guys can answer this poll, I would be much appreciated. It would be very, very good. My argument is you're going to generally feel fear. And if you think about it, there's a lot of information that comes out. I mean, look at this. Oh, this PMI. My goodness. Oh, wrong one. You don't want that one. We want the American one. The American one matters the most. Here we go. And you can see here, oh, look at this. Oh, the fear. Look at this. Why traders care. It's a leading indicator of economic health. Businesses react quickly to market conditions and their purchasing managers hold. Now, that's not to say this couldn't move the market 3%, but I think in general, you've just got to remember you're generally going to feel fear. So again, better to see where you're at. Would I buy the US 500 coming into the daily 200 moving average? Personally, I wouldn't. Doesn't mean that it's if you're already in from last week, or you bought 56, or you bought 55.50, or you bought something else, or you bought the close, smiley face to you. But I wouldn't personally buy there. Why? I don't think it makes technical sense. I mean, why would I do that when I can most likely get a gap fill at some point like this? If we're going bullish, most likely get something like that, or we get smashed in and then possibly this or something worse. So I just don't think it pays attention to do that. I buy when blood is in the streets, but never know when to sell. Seeing trades go up 20% and then back again and do nothing. Yeah, that's a common trait with many people out there. And it's not your fault. It's just one of the problems that many traders and investors find. Now, if you're interested actually for me to go through some of these things in 2025 during the live shows, let me know, because we always talk about technicals, what our thoughts are in the markets, but we don't usually talk about the boring subjects, which are, what is actually important to know for us as humans. And I really feel like this is a topic of 2025. You guys might agree with me here. I don't really watch that too many podcasts or listen to them or anything, but I found that the ones that I do listen to, seems that there's a huge focus at the moment on particularly anything to do with, finding out more about certain brain functionality and stuff like that. I feel like there's hacking going on. The hacking level is very, very high. All right, let's go through some stocks, do what we like to do. Let's go through some stocks, commodities and stuff. We'll just quickly pass over gold and silver. Gold, I think, is at resistance. I've made that perfectly clear. I feel like it's going to sit for a little bit. I like 3,600 this year, but, and chill. Silver. Now, silver's found itself at a good support, and it's actually put itself on the first resistance here today. You'll notice it's putting pressure on this side. I think that's an important level for it to close above, probably 2 hour plus, 33.25, starting to look a lot better. Yields, of course, up across the board, 2-year and 10-year. 10-year kind of worryingly up if you look at it on a chart. You can see here, but certainly not at breakout levels or anything like that, so don't worry too much. And dollar index kind of floundering, US oil looking more bullish off the lows and actually breaking through the tweezer. So again, looks like oil's bucking the trend of what the news would make you believe should be happening, which is probably short. And the structure itself actually looks way more bullish. Bitcoin, Ethereum, just quickly, Ethereum breaking to a new high here after getting smashed. Still absolutely no swing trade switch. And Bitcoin improving is probably the better trade of the other ones, because 84.5 made sense from a break level on the small timeframes when you go down to the 2 hour, 4 hour, etc. And we're looking to see whether it can get to 91,000. Michael says here, yes, great topic. You can never have too much information. Correct. In my opinion, 10-year treasury rates rise over 5% over the next couple of months. When that happens, maybe tariffs or whatever, that certainly could be a concern. Again, we'll be looking at here. Why has silver been held down so much relative to gold? Look up JP Morgan. Drill baby, says Dono. Yep, I don't know if that's going to get our prices. Why is that prices up then? And Tom, what is your take on IWM? We'll check it out here soon. Dub says, I calculated SPY expected moves as my calculation off. Are you doing daily calcs or are you doing calcs based on the weekly close? I'm doing daily calcs based on 0 DTEs. So you might need to have a look at that one and just tell me if it's a week or not. You can't believe mainstream media. You will lose money if you believe them. Well, I think in general, you got to be very careful where you source your information from. And Dascopia says, G'day, Tom. Good show. You do bloody legend. Thank you very much. Sounds like you're Australian. G'day and bloody legend. Two things that Australians use. Fear is programmed into the brain. It's a great concept. It's a great comment. It absolutely is. It's programmed into us. It's amazing how powerful it is as a tool that makes us lose in trading and investing. 72% of you, by the way, I need to take a picture of this poll. I'm going to take a picture. 71 in the end. 300 people, that'll do. We've got a good enough poll. We'll do another one in the future on the channel. I'm very interested in this topic this year because I think this is where most people, I found it's where everyone's going wrong. After training a lot of people, I think it's where a lot of people are going wrong. A lot of people. You mentioned silver is undervalued compared to gold, but looking at gold, silver, it looks to be on the high end of the ratio. What? What are you talking about here? Well, she should be doing silver gold. No. So this is gold to silver. Gold is therefore on the high end of the ratio. So what you're asking is silver gold that you want to be looking at. And then, of course, this will tell you that it's actually low on the ratio. See this? So if you go to weekly, you're going to see silver's in the dirt compared to gold price. And it's historically much higher. So it's not unprecedented, but it's certainly in the dirt area. So yeah, you're just doing the combo wrong, in my opinion. Yeah, it's okay. Gold is going down to 29.50 before the next jump. Certainly could. Wouldn't really worry about that. I used to feel quite happy around CPI PMI until I lost a ton of money shorting gold, and then I was negative for gold, but then it went up sharply. We can't be negative on gold. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. All right, let's move through some popular stocks. We'll start off with the controversial one. Why not? We might as well go there. So we're going to go and have a look at Tesla. And obviously, no matter what your bias is or your opinion is, you have to look at it as price. A lot of people say, Tom, why are you covering Tesla? You should hate Elon or love Elon or whatever, or whatever. We're just going to trade the stock, okay? And the reason why I'm covering Tesla, number one, it's popular. Number two, there's a ton of options on it. It's got flow. And if it has flow, it has opportunity. I'm sorry. If you don't want to trade it, fine. There's no problems. I don't talk about tobacco stocks because frankly, I don't like tobacco stocks, but that's my personal opinion. And I don't trade this company that used to make asbestos because it killed my granddad. So, that's my opinion. I'm allowed to do that. You're allowed to have your opinions as well. But that's my choice. Yeah, I just don't want to trade those. You don't have to do this either, but we do need to look at the options. So let's have a look here at the tweezer. And this tweezer is on all the mags. It's on the mag stocks in general. A lot of opportunities on the mag sevens if the market starts to rally, by the way. I think Google has some good stuff if we actually do gap up. But this is a tweezer, and it's breaking through what we call a gamma event. So basically, this is where we break through the 250 barrier and we go into what we call positive gamma. Now, that doesn't mean that this stock is saved and it's not going to go be burnt into the dirt in the future or anything. It's possible. But the thing about it is they have to have relief rallies. So no market just goes like this traditionally, unless it's totally dying. They will go like this. There's like death lurches. And, the death lurches can be pretty violent and pretty wild. But I think 259 is obviously positive if you manage to buy it. Anyone get a 220 buy on Tesla? Let us know in the chat. The volume is obviously up. Now, am I excited about this? Not really. I think 300 has to be, or just below 300 has to be a target. So that's the area that I would be looking at, generally speaking. All right. So the tweezers. All right, guys, don't get political. I have to ban everyone otherwise. My point is I have to cover Tesla, yeah, because of the options. The options, guys. 259, and this is a very, very good level for the buyer because if it can stick. So it wants to stick, then you're going to 290. All right, controversial topic. That's pretty much it. We're past the 250. The 250 is where the calls are. You can see them here, and the calls are there. Lots and lots of calls. So if it sticks it, then you start to get dealer hedge. Dealer hedge can force squeeze. Squeeze can go positive gamma. There's not that much really, in my opinion, before 270. So that should be the day trade target if you're going to go bullish. This person is a moron. Let's have a look over here. This $940 call buyer, unless they've got some sweet premiums. I don't know what they're doing. Who is this person? But anyway, whatever. They can do what they want with their 940 call. I don't think they're going to make any money on it, though. Let's have a look at some of the other popular mag stocks. We've got NVDA. NVIDIA is, of course, big area here. And you've got the most traded zone. So, of course, you've got a movement over here. So it's a buy. Well, it hasn't even stuck it. So, look, the buy is 220. And we said that last week. We talked about the options wall. I said you buy at 220, you sell at 250, basically. We saw a nice close. It's starting to stick above 250. If you're a day trader, you could go and have a look at the structure. It's not what I would call a high probability trade because it doesn't have really great technicals. The 220 was a super base and it was a super oversold level. The 259 activates a tweezer style bottom. It's not what I would call, wow, that's a slam dunk 10 out of 10 style trade. It's something like I would give it like a fair grade, like average 5 out of 10. At best, 5 out of 10. You know, it's average, maybe 6 out of 10 for the bullish side, a little bit better. Now, what is better technically is actually NVIDIA. You've seen some switch of trend, which is solid. You've seen the most traded level, which we've had stuck here for ages, continuously find at least some form of structure. And obviously, it based a little bit last week. So, yeah, I think it's looking okay. But actually, in the semiconductor world, it's AMD that looks the best. I mean, can you believe I'm saying AMD? AMD looks the best. What the hell is going on here? You know, this thing's trash, yeah. But I actually kind of like the bottom. What do you guys think? You like AMD? I said this in the private community last week and the week before, and I've been like, well, wait a second here. I kind of like this. Now, you might notice, chat, you guys are pretty smart. What's this? What's this down here? What's this? What about Micron? Yep. If it's in the news, it's priced in. Could be. That's usually generally here. Tom, you thinking pullbacks on the indices will be met by buyers? Yeah, I think ultimately, yes. I think we've seen a lot of dark pool transactions down at the lows. We've obviously documented them on the daily show. I do feel like there's a lot of fear in the air. We've seen that in those extreme fear ratings from retail. Retail just switched negative last week. Kind of suspected that was the way it was going. And yeah, I mean, these are the types of things that you often do see with temp bases. It's very, look, you know, I'm not feeling as positive in 2025 as I did in 24 on the economy. I think that I'm feeling a lot weaker on it. I've said since the start of the year, it's not a time to be margined out of your own mind. At least I hope this community is not margined out of their own mind, because I think it's a dangerous next couple of years. I really do. And it's not so much political. It's got nothing to do with that. It actually has to do with the system itself is breaking. And I know that everyone's been bearish for years, but I truly believe we're in an existential crisis of the system. You know, there's a big problem here. You've got car problems with used cars and the network there. You've got debt everywhere. You've got repos. You've got all sorts of weird, bizarre financial things that remind me of subprime 2.0. So all these things are starting to appear, although they don't show in price just yet. They're there. We know. A lot of you do know about them. Some of you don't. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's kind of simmering a little bit more than I would say I like. But you are correct. This is a tweezer bottom, similar to the others, and it's happening at what I would call a very solid base bottom. So this is good. On top of that, we saw a nice break of the downward trend line that this stock has been in. I mean, it's been horrendous. Now, we did see some big transactions over here, which is why I've left this buy zone here. But you can see we've got very, very solid downward trend line. good little base structure down here and an improvement in price. And I do like it. I do like it. I think AMD has got better technicals than some out there at this stage. So certainly one that's interesting for a lot of people. And it's up 2.73 in the open. So pretty nice. So the story is today green, 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 green until we hit maybe the daily 200. Obviously, got to be very careful on days like this where they gap up so much. 945, we've got PMI. That could be used as an excuse to sell it off down. Let's have a look at some other mag stocks. Let's have a look at Apple. So you'll notice here with Apple, you've got like a pretty bad steal low. Again, very important that the market actually recovers quickly here, which so far it is. And it's very important that around this area, so around this kind of previous support, that we get a nice rally above it and we stick it, we hold it. Okay. And that can then signal actually very good rallies. So that's actually possible. Okay. Amazon, all right, forming base, no problems with that. That's okay. Forming base, plenty of room to go up should we actually see closures at higher levels. Again, I wouldn't be too worried about falling out on that one. I don't think that's even activated. Google also not activating really. It's at 168. You could argue, but Tom, look, it's gap down, sitting, gap up a little bit, island reversal. Again, not the worst price, good structural demands. Why would I look at this chart? Well, of course, I would always use fixed range on this point, and you'll notice that you've traded that really heavy area, which is down here. And when you have that heavy area, it's definitely not the worst price you could buy. The worst price you could buy is probably anything up until around here. So most of these prices are all bad. No price action to say buy. So that's bad. This is okay. This person gets wiped out. Then we start to see structure regeneration. And obviously there's going to be a lot of higher highs that need to be taken, such as this one here and a gap up off this area here. So yeah, I don't mind this price. What do you guys think of Google here? Not too bad either. AMD looked like it was turning around at 140, 130, 106, still going below the MA 200. No, this is totally different. You know this, Whale. You know this. This structure is totally different to the others. Completely different. It broke the downward trend line. It's a huge deal in comparison to the rest of it. Just a lower high on AMD, no trend change. Yeah, I disagree. I think the trend, it could be wrong, but when you're always playing statistics, I don't think that AMD has anywhere near as bad as the previous lows. But this is my point: is most of you are going to be really negative on it and bearish on it because it was overpriced as a stock. It's now slightly underpriced, and it's been horrendous for a lot of people. And a lot of people have been super bullish, super bullish. I didn't even take a look at AMD till 120, and at these prices, it's actually attractive in some ways. And the price action, which is all I actually care about, has done multiple levels of repair. So again, you might say, oh, well, why do you like it? I don't particularly think it's the greatest trade. If I was grading it, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, but it's better than bloody Tesla randomly picking it at 259. And that's what I like. I like about grading trades to improve them. And again, this is not a solicitation for you to buy, sell, do whatever the hell you want, but it's a solicitation to build. You've got to build confidence in a trade based on a repeatable system and set of processes. And if you can do that, I could show you AMD's trade on 10 other pairs pretty quickly. And you would be like, oh yeah, they are called kind of similar because it's repeatable. And that's what you've got to do. Do you win every one? No, you're going to lose a lot in trades. You just do. Do I think AMD's investment grade business right now? Personally, no. But you can see that it's very important. And again, more people that are negative against it, even though this is our community. And generally, if I was to put a poll up and it was some, like, let's say I had 200,000 people on X and I put a poll up, or YouTube, and I put a poll up and I said, oh, guys, how do you feel about AMD right now? And if 70% of those people came in negative and I saw that type of chart, I would be like, how? Yes, yes. I would celebrate all that negativity because in essence, price action is going against you. And that would be very, very good to me. Dahobi says $4.99. Thank you very much. Can you check and check out Salit? What is this? Salitlets, the Jenny spots. What? Thank you for the donation. What is this? Sell? Oh, what it what is this? Like this? Is it like a stock or something? Maybe someone can tell me in the chat. I might be confused. It is 11 o'clock at night. We'll see there. Hey, Tom, thank you for the gold core in our private community. Membership paid 10 times over. Appreciate it, Arthur. Thank you very much. We might have to get back to that question. Maybe one of the mods can have a look. Dave, can you have a look, get the answer for that, and send it to me in Discord, please? AMD peekaboo on the daily. Is MSTR setting up for another rocket? MSTR is sell limits for Jenny Spots. Is this a thing? Is it Jenny Spots? Oh, Jenny Sports. Ah, we got there in the end. Thank you very much. That's pretty funny. This, I don't know. Genius Sports. Oh, there we go. Oh, no wonder I have no idea what this business is. It's under $5 billion. I'm like, I've never even heard of this thing before. All right, so let's have a look. Firstly, I don't mind the price action here. It's actually not bad for the rally. I actually prefer it on the previous daily. This is a momentum style play. A lot of people will see this as some kind of like cup kind of thing with some stupid handle. I don't really care about that trade concept, but the thing here is I do like the break. I do like the base. I like this low steal. That usually makes me pretty happy. I don't mind the wicks. I love the weekly close above the doji. I love the weekly close above everything. In terms of where you would sell it, though, that's the problem. There's so much selling back here in 22 when it got destroyed. Maybe people didn't want to buy the shoes or whatever they sell. That we can't really be clear on the exact price. I'd probably put I'd probably look at the psychological numbers of 12 and 14 and go for that. And I'd also go for the range. And I think the range is around $2, maybe $1.80 wide. So I'd probably sell it just before 12 would be the way I'd look at it. But of course, practice that technical analysis whenever you can. Thank you very much. Appreciate the new membership here, TA with 72. Appreciate it. Eric says, I think Tesla and Bitcoin, MSTR and coin, etc. are going to rip up. It's possible. We'll have a look at MSTR since I've been requested quite a few times tonight. But realistically, just remember MSTR is just a Bitcoin, I know it's not Bitcoin proxy. I think it is. It goes up with Bitcoin price. Obviously, there are different mechanics behind it, but ultimately it does. Now, do I like this? Yes, I like the demand. I like the wicks. I like the price in terms of the way that it's turning. Have a look at the daily. Yeah, I mean, that's strong. Again, it looks a little bit better than Bitcoin when you're thinking about it as a double bottom style play, pushing back to 400. I would like to liken, by the way, that we up here did say this thing was cooked. So, well done, guys. But yeah, I like it. I think it's okay. I mean, do I want to buy MSTR? Not personally, no, but that's okay. PA wise, a little bit better. A little bit better. No worries, DA Hobie. Thank you very much for your donation. Appreciate it. Anyone here buying up Mazda over the last month? Oh, I would not buy car companies, but again, could be like a relief and then a failure. Tom, thoughts on Polaris? Goodbye at 37. We'll do a couple of these. We'll just do this Polaris. What is this? Car thing. Consumer durables. Oh, I don't know what this. Oh, Polestar is what I was thinking of. 2.36 by here. Seems like bottom basement to me. Ooh, that low from 2020. Look, it's got better volume. It's absolute bottom dweller, kind of bottom basement style picking up. You'd really want to buy at least minimum 44 to see it kind of rally through. But that's that's certainly down there. That's certainly down there. Microsoft, nothing much to really report. Obviously up a bit, but pretty boring on the charts. And someone said Meta was interesting. I'm going to set a little alert here at 610 plus on Meta. Get it past that. You got me interested. But yeah, weekly, right level. Certainly hit the right level. Doji, bit of a rejection. Yeah, let's break through 611, 612 to get interesting here. Any thoughts on Micron? Got this one a lot tonight, so we'll have a look. Micron. Micron, no, I got no thoughts on this. Looks like it's tight range, and I think it's a tight range. Unfortunately, it's low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. Nothing much else you can say here. I'm liking how Moz is shaping up. Mosaic. Yeah, let's have a look at Mosaic. We have checked this out. Yeah, I agree. Looks better. These agricultural companies in general have improved. Now, this one here was a failure as well. Took out the lows. That's a bit of a nasty failure steal as well. You don't usually expect this, but the volumes were big down there. I actually do think that's an absolute theft on stocks. So this is certainly an improvement. And I guess if you're looking at this, you probably need to look at Nutrien. So I've actually been looking at quite a lot of ag stocks this year, and they're actually the third or fourth best sector, which is something we did pick a few months ago as being better. And yeah, I like Nutrien as well. I think that's got a nice base, nice little hole level. Again, yeah, the ag sector, these Nutrien, these things that have been absolutely brutalized. They're not the easiest trades or investments, but they've certainly improved here, and they look good. Meta looks great. Meta's a good level, certainly good demand, and that's what we've got here. We've got the mag stocks, as in mags, which you track through here. You've got them all kind of basing. Volume's obviously up. Demand is there. Wicks are here. Improvement is coming. And we've just got to really be paying attention to overall structure. So there are a couple of things that I want to talk here about macro for a second. One, structure is going to be key moving forward. And the way that we get through this is very, very important. Okay. Number two, you can't discount a new lower low still being formed. I'm not saying, I think all things considered, and I mentioned this, that the risk to the reward was looking bullish in favor when we were down at the 55s. And I had a feeling we wouldn't hit 54 first. So, but I don't discount new low. 5,400, you do not want to see the market take that, okay? That is possible. 200 DMA is obviously an important level, which we looked at before. And I think that no matter what, even if the markets do rally, we go all-time high and everyone thinks that this is all fantastic, I would actually not ignore this pullback. It's, in my opinion, very, very different to a standard fear-based pullback that we usually get. And this one, it's not about the tariffs. I got nothing. I'm not even talking about the tariffs. I'm talking about the breakdown of significant structure throughout key sector areas, such as home builders and others, okay, are the keys that I use. I haven't seen the markets this sick for a while. And that makes me, I think it makes all of us take pause. It just means, I'm reducing lever. Lever is gone this year. It already was gone at the start of this year. There are certain things that are starting to appear, and we have to not discount those, even if markets go up. Oren says XBI. Sure, Oren, we'll have a look at the bio for you, man. And the bio here is very coiled. Wow, this thing is coiled. Take a look at that. That's pretty boring market. Oh, that'd be like watching paint dry on this one every day if you're watching the tape. Look, it's stuck. No breakout. Need to get above here. I'm obviously not negative on this sector because I'm positive on healthcare, but yeah, bio, no break yet. If you must trade Bitcoin miners, HUT is the only one I would bother with. Sol recovering. If you look at Solana, it's at an excellent demand zone. Again, one I covered in the macro show I do for private members today. I really like this level. It's a very, very solid level. Very solid level. And we saw the same thing on XRP, the same thing on a little bit worse on Ethereum, actually. But yeah, certainly an improvement. I'm looking for this above 150. I think that could be good. Ace says market crash is incoming. Could be. We'll see. Backyard groceries on Gmail. Do I get backyard groceries? Do I just Gmail hit you up and then we get backyard groceries? I like the name. That's funny. What about ABGO? Got to beat this crypto run. This crypto run at the moment is certainly starting up here, and it's just really important that we break structure. But I think, look, Bitcoin always leads, and Bitcoin is doing much better. Surely TSMC is at better levels. So TSMC, ABGO, all these semis. A lot of you guys really into the semis, it seems. The hell is what's going on here? What the? Oh, wrong code. We'll just use the New York Stock Exchange. Yes, I know it's not the right code. In fact, the structure looks so different on this. Whenever you're doing analysis, by the way, guys, top tip: never do analysis on this on the wrong code. And you should always do it on the main. So, has anyone got TSM's main code for me? I must admit, I barely buy this stock. What's the Hong Kong code? Someone give it to me. Indian stock market. We can have a look at it. Always do it on the major code. You'll see what I mean when I go here. I'll have a look at them. Lanny's one, ABGO. Psychology. I find it hard to buy Meta when I was trading it at 88,120. Yeah, don't worry about that. Look, price for a trader, price. I mean, when I say like, what you deem to be the value is irrelevant. Oh, that's so funny. You know who you are if you're watching right now. Someone texted me the code. That is funny. All right, yeah. So we'll have a look here. So you can see 2330. Again, TSM, all of these semis definitely down. Some good signs, I guess, is that the little weekly 50 moving average has been hit. So that's always an important one here when it comes to the demand zone. I like that. I don't mind the area. I'd always do, obviously some other work on it. You'd want to put in this. Actually, it's better than I expected. Oh, thank you very much, Rita, for becoming a member. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Welcome. And you can see here that we have, pretty much that heavy demand zone. So, I don't mind it. I don't mind the area. Price action wise, no buys though. This hasn't actually up to massive bid yet or anything like that. You'll see here the structure is not solid yet. It's probably going to take the US to pull it through. Now, what was that one before? ABGO. Have a look. Broadcom. Pretty consistent. 200 hitter. Again, just decent demand structure. Fills the gap, that kind of stuff. Here's the gap. Not too bad. I think that it's clear. Like, it doesn't matter which semiconductor you look at. They're all on critical supports. And it's across the board. It doesn't matter. NVDA obviously is bounced off, but it's still trading its most traded level. We've got ABGO here on the 200, which has been the previous sell-off lows. So an important level. And you're getting the same thing with TSM, most demanded zone. You're getting the same thing with most semis. And even AMD's, coming off those lows, a significant weakness. So what would I say? Well, I guess the thing is that we're looking at right now is we've got a market that's champing at the bit to get that daily 200. We've got market news coming out 15 minutes after the open today, which is the PMI. And it doesn't really make sense to get too carried away with buying the index here. And the reason I say that is because if you haven't already bought the index, you're at the danger zone. So traditionally, what you'll do is you'll go, okay, if the index does break through and give me what I want, as in bullish symptoms, will I then have a lot of opportunity? And my argument would be probably yes, because look at how many of these stocks are just chopping in range. And they're not going to break out today. Let's just say that. So there are plenty, so many abundance opportunities here on the markets moving forward. There's just so much going on. There's healthcare, which I've talked about at great length, being a decent multi-month play potentially. There's, of course, the silver. There's the market itself. I think China, though, I would not buy China here. It hit our target, at least one of the first ones. So I would just leave that to just be chill. Chill, 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 chill. Everyone's so bullish. I said in the macro today, I'm chill on China. I'm chill on the DAX. Okay, no DAX. They like DAX here. I'm sorry, guys. And the DAX, that is it. Is just chill. Sideways, sideways, sideways down, sideways down at the moment for a little while. Let's have a look at the Nifty 50. Let's see how I've been noticing a lot of news coming out of India at the moment. Let's have a look over here. Yes, 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 yes. Very good rally. So that thing is at resistance, but that is a classic oversell into rally. I think we did this one last week on the show, actually, up 5%. Wow. Maybe I should have traded it. I didn't do that. That was pretty stupid of me, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a good demand. First res too. So interesting. AVGO ate some of NVIDIA's lunch, and now MTK made chips will eat AVGO's lunch. Yeah, that's true. They're all fighting each other now. The big money's been made. You mentioned this month billions coming into the market with minimal outflows estimated. I believe this may be to do with options expiration. Can you elaborate on this point? From Fergus. So that's the CTAs. So that's the commodity trade advisors. They're just basically oversold. So in essence, what's happening is they've got uptape that they have to buy. That generally pumps money into the system. We tend to see the back end of March into April be more bullish towards the US stock market traditionally. It seems, even though it's in a buy, which is weird because it's in a buyback blackout period. So you get other flows that tend to come in, and then you get that exacerbated at the end of April into May as the buyback blackout period ends and companies start purchasing their own stock again. So you kind of get this usual ebb and flow of the markets that looks like this. It kind of, if you were looking at traditional chart, you'd go kind of up at the beginning, 20th of Jan, kind of down, hits up in Feb a little bit, sells off in March, rallies off in March. This is the traditional kind of year, and then it goes like this, and then like that. Yeah. So it's pretty much exactly the way that we've traded this year. We've traded almost like you would expect in a Republican majority first year. Yeah. Thanks for the other comments. I do try to read a lot of these ones. Thanks, RT. Congratulations. Appreciate that very much. Nike looks oversold. I get this one, DOMH. I'll look at it for you. I can't read every comment, so I don't try to miss yours or anything. But oh, oh, oh no, 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 no. Look at the problem here. Too small, man. That is a penny stock. 50. Oh, you can't see it. 59 million. Oh no, I'm sorry, dude. That thing is brutalized. You don't have any TA advantage on this. That's a pumpy and a dumpy. And because they bleed out these kind of things, they're not very good. So that they might rally one more time, but realistically, that's unfortunately not very good. What was the other one? NKE. I would always say that if you're doing analysis on the markets, especially when you usually start, I always say it's the trading cycle. You start large caps, Disney, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, whatever. Then you go to the mids and the small caps and you think, oh, I'm going to make money. Yes. And you go to the micro caps and you get into some weird fandangled day trading, pick up BS crap that's just trash. And you lose all your money in that. And then you go over here and you say, oh, I found options. Look at me. I found options. Oh, what is this CFD thing, this futures thing? Oh, hey guys, I'm over here now. And then you go there and you go, oh, that wasn't very good. Because then you do that on the crappy stocks and you get smashed. Then you come over here and you do a little bit more like, options and credit spreads. Then you find about credit and then you're like, oh, credit, I'm the best. And that doesn't work out because you make mad dog mistakes with credit. And then you end up here with large caps and mid caps again. But this time you use options on them and you use leverage at a good level. And that is where you end. Okay. And that's success. That is the success of the trader. Sometimes over here, you might go over here and you found crypto. And you find crypto and then you find like currency. Yeah, there you go. I fixed your life, guys. There you go. Pretty much. And that's the life cycle of 90% of you. There's something like that. I often say this one because it's traditionally what happens. Now, with the Nike, has it hit the low? My goodness, it got smashed. Nike, $68. $68. Nike. What has happened? Is this a case if they go woke, go broke or something? What did Nike do? I don't know. I haven't bought a Nike shoes. I have not bought a Nike shoe in years. Years. Now that could mean I'm not in the kicks game, but maybe it's also because the last Nike shoe I bought was trash. Absolute trash it was. Maybe it's not you can do it or whatever anymore. Yeah, it's a good level. Could it be the low swing? Sure, but too early to tell. I went and bought a pair of shoes the other day, and they have this shoe. And I don't know if you guys have this trend back in America. I'm assuming it's there. You probably sent it to us here in Australia. These giant, thick ass 90s looking, you're floating on the moon, on the clouds. Hideous shoes. Oh, and I saw this dude put it on. Shoe would have been like an eighth of his size. And I'm thinking, no, bro, don't wear that shoe. And he bought them. And I was like, oh, bro, so bad. It's so hideous. They are the worst shoes ever. The ones, the cloud shoes. I'm sure some of you own them. Michael Jordan needs to return to the Bulls. Yeah. Please go over Copper TA. It's bullish. Very bullish. Copper TA is incredible right now. Look at it go. Absolutely wild. Where did the sound go? Did I get muted by Nike? Nike was peak Nike during the 90s bull era. Yeah. It's probably exhausting itself on the copper based on this metric I have here. But geez, I tell you what a trend. Tom, you said on your daily videos that you're putting brakes on investment this year. Will this gap up change your opinion? No, I made those calls before we fell. No. Anyone in the private community knows I was rabbiting on about this back in December of 24. Look, it's got absolutely nothing to do with this pullback right now. It has everything to do with I don't think the market's very healthy. And I haven't seen this level of unhealthiness for a very long time. So that's good. Dane, yeah. No one seems to know about these giant cloud shoes, but anyway, they're everywhere. Anyone remember Metal Storm, an Aussie weapon company? Its US ADR rose 2,000% while its main shares in Australia barely moved. There we go. What would make you change your mind, Tom? Probably not much. I'm pretty steadfast in it. Done a lot of analysis on it. Again, it's in my advanced course if you want to find out why I think that way. But yeah, I put a lot of effort on that. So it's taken me a long time to come to these conclusions. What level of mentorship do we need to get the private videos? Don't buy it here on YouTube. Just go over to FX Evolution, 7-day free trial, man. I know you did join up, so I appreciate that. But yeah, that's what you want to do. FXEvolution.com. Congratulations, Tom, the 200K level. Thank you very much, Sandola. Always appreciate it. You've been here since 2000. Dane in the chat, been here since sub 100. So I appreciate you, Dane, as well. Very cool. Have you ever heard Balenciaga shoes? It's the ugly cloud shoes. No, I know that those ones, but I'm talking about like they're everywhere. Just a plague of them. And Tom, an Aussie audiophile. I do like audio, so let's have a look. Tom AMTX, please. Okay, let's have a look. Never get into the audiophile hobby, guys. You will literally lose $45,000 on a bunch of front speakers, and that would be a bad idea. AMTX, it's probably too small, is it? Yeah, too small. 107 million. So it's very difficult to TA. Generally, this is news kind of related, but you can see here you've got your support-ish level. You've got a good weekly kind of start here. Obviously, some action coming out. You do have a change of trend on the daily. That's about it. Price action, we're looking at maybe gap fill 230, then 280. Watch the tape. No worries. Appreciate that, TA. SoFi, please, bro. Yeah, all right, man. We'll do that. So I think that today the problem is that we rallied so much. I wanted to just come in here and say, guys, look at that big ass hammer. We got the dark pools. We did it on the weekend. We're going to buy up to the 200 probably, or at least the 20, and then we we gap up 1.24%. So that's kind of ruining the session in my opinion, unless you're already bullish, because it hurts the day trader unless you because you need now you don't have structure. You just flying high with the gap behind you. SoFi 4 hour here, whatever. There's no real structure change. Weekly is a bullish hammer and it's coming off the right area. Another stock that oversold itself and came to a good zone. That's a great buy actually last week. The other one I want to look at was PLTR actually, which is looking good. Oh, it's up 2.5 as well. So yeah, that's looking all right for some recovery. I'd like to get that to like 105. Neil Yo says, good morning, sir. What do you think about NVDA? Covered a little while ago. Most traded zone. Still looks okay. Why is copper rising while iron ore is languishing? Because we're in WAR and defense spend. Defense spend is a component of this stuff. And I think the world's biggest infrastructure spend of all time happening in the US, which is also a bullish case, by the way, guys. SMCI, they were downgraded by Goldman today and upgraded by JP Morgan last week. What the hell? It's called playing games with your mind. SMCI, Super Micro Hindenburg. Action-wise, just kind of neutral bullish. Have you talked about HOKA? What is this? What? What is that? Nothing for me as a day trader today. Shame we didn't get this move on Friday. Sigh. Good luck all. Still expecting one more low after this squeeze. Certainly possible. Is it a good time to invest in German stocks? Not in my opinion. I think they're overpriced. Thanks for PLTR, Tom. You gave me a vote of confidence last week and made a decent gain. Very cool. Deluded cupcake. What is with the names? Deluded cupcake. All right, you got a funny name. Booking Holdings common stock. Booking. This is booking.com, is it? $151 billion. Billion. It's good. Again, another stock that oversold, hit into the daily 200, weekly 50. Good little engulf there last week. $4,000. It's okay. I mean, if you pick the bottom, it's all right. Look, to me, I don't really like this type of price action, but that may have already played out. The lower high, I mean. The overall trend area, though, has been solid every other time, so can't say it's going to be bad here. I invest in Germany, might be overpriced. Doesn't say it can't keep rising. Watch out for price action. Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think it's exhausted. So I agree with you. It doesn't mean that I don't know what the price is multiple wise and whether it's a ripoff or not. Just because it's gone up doesn't mean it's a ripoff. But what I'm telling you is it's exhausted. So you've got a high, a low, a lower high, and you're putting pressure back on the daily 20. You've also got exhaustion reads up here. I do not like that type of market. I don't invest into it. I wait for usually more hectic lows such as this and then that. If that happens, smiley face, I'll have a go at it. But I don't know if that's a smiley face, but there you go. At this stage, why would I bother? What is up here? If you're in it already, well done. It's very good. I don't think it's gonna get cracked on, but everyone's on the German market right now. I would probably stick to just the healthcare ETF. It's an easier play. Do you consider growth stocks at all? You mean like all of the hyper growths at the moment, like the quantum computer stocks and stuff? Yeah, I'll be putting out a bit of a list of talking about those. But they're very, very violent. So people can't handle the 40, 50% swings they have on them. Do I like them? Not at this stage in where I think we're at. I think they're very dangerous. But yeah, money to be made. Of course, there's always another opportunity here. Hey Tom, do you believe in BTC will have a cycle top this year? Technically, yes, I would have to say that that is what I'm looking for. End of month rotations coming through. That is also a powerful concept here. Can make big moves coming to the end of the month. But generally speaking, remember there is a turn traditionally in April. Good morning from Canada. Thank you for the channel. What are your thoughts on defense stocks SHLD? I can only assume it's up into the sky, which it is. Look, you got to remember this is not a new movement in these defensives. Like global defense tech has been getting more and more money on it for years. It really started to trigger back in just before and around the 2022 obviously Russia Ukraine conflict. So this is not a new thing. I would say that it's very much in the press. So as I say, if it's in the press, it's in the price. I think it's going to come down and go sideways for a bit. I think it's had its fun in terms of the move. Caleb says here because he's Australian. What does that mean? My take on IWM. No worries. All right, we'll finish with this one here today, guys. IWM, good level in terms of the weekly 200. Again, 200 is pretty supreme. It's a great level. You've got to just look for repeatable concepts. And this has been hit 3 times, then 4th time here, which is cool. We then saw, I think, something that was a little bit more encouraging for the 200, which is the daily, which is this candle here, kind of a rejection candle being closed above on Wednesday, March 19th. Obviously, the same dark pool activity was present through the Friday coming into the close, and it's trying to push above the daily 20 now. And look, in general, it's of course like the others, a little bit more oversold. Level will be 2156 that I'd be looking for, but it's done some improvement. Looked at XLV before. Crypto altcoin season prediction. Altcoin season. I think the problem is that every single person in crypto is aware of a repeatable process. And that old repeatable process was buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes up. Buy Ethereum, Ethereum goes up, and some other major coins. Buy, crap coins, they start going up. Mid coins, buy anything, they all go up. That obviously was the process. It's clear that with the saturation of so many coins and therefore disbursement of money that's gone throughout, that we're not in those cycles anymore. In fact, I would call those cycles pointless. Instead, what I would do is I would focus on ratios and price action coming through. And obviously what you're looking for is, I wouldn't call it altcoin season or anything like that anymore. Clearly, if that was going to happen, it would have happened already. So nowadays, you just want to be looking at it on their merits and then saying, okay, am I seeing price action breakout? And then I would be very cautious to buy any trash this time around. Too many coins now to just go and get pumps on anything. And I know, yes, there's been the Hawk Chewer and Trump coin and other stuff, but you need a good marketing team behind them. I think that the days of a random crap coin just getting absolutely smashed through the roof and going to be worth billions of dollars is probably, without good marketing, is unlikely. So, but it used to be just buy anything and it would go up. Dr. Evil bought 1 million Pepe. XLK, looks okay. I can see altcoin. I can't see altcoin seasons ever again. This is from someone else. The market has realized that meme coins are the only real coins as they take out the pretend fundamentals. That's fair. The pretend fundamentals are on some of those coins pretty weak. IDX Indonesian market has been dumping so much. Oh, the IDX, man. It's been a long time since I've looked at the Indonesian market. This market was notorious for pump dumps back in the day. Yes, that is quite bad. Mm, yeah, the pumpy dumpy. Wow, it's really lost it. Geez, that looks disgusting. And it's not like Indonesia isn't isn't there they're kind of expanding and growing, aren't they? I mean, I think the number one Asian country for expansion growth right now as a percentage is the Philippines. But yeah, wow, that is shocking. Oh, I don't even know what to think about this. I'd have to look into it. Hey, Tom, why don't you cover the Brazilian market? Is that worth doing? I know that there's a lot of people, actually, a lot of people do cover South American stuff nowadays. That's a good point. This is terrible. I'm just surprised how bad it is. I mean, I remember the pump dumps, but I didn't think it would be so bad. I haven't looked at this in years. I last time I looked is in here. Hmm. A long time ago, almost a decade ago since I last looked at this chart, or at least the Indonesian market in general. BOO buy levels, please. All right, this is the last one, guys. Thank you very much for joining us here. This is why am I looking at this? I knew it was the S&P 500 code. Why would you do that to me? We don't need to look at VOO. It's the same thing. I already mentioned it today. I think we're trying to go for the daily 200. So daily 200 is what I'd like to see. We'll find out whether we get a bit of res there. We've obviously got a massive gap. 9:45 a.m. Watch that news. I guess that could push it round. We could get like a boom, boom, that kind of thing. But for this stage, things are improving. Obviously, we're climbing the wall of worry a little bit here. We were significantly oversold. We found some great information. It's on the Daily Show if you want to have a look at it. Again, guys, thank you so much. I'm doing a bit of work on tariffs at the moment, so I'm trying to figure out some stuff there. And yeah, LFI Inc. says, will IDX crash trigger some global crisis? That's a bit alarming. No, it won't, but it looks absolutely ridiculous. Oh, it's no good. I do remember, RDDT. Okay, we got to do that. There's a Reddit, and I think it should be up, and it is up. And I don't mind this base. I'm not a fan of this stock. I think it's totally overpriced and it's going to cook itself, but that's not relevant when you're looking at price action. So, yeah, I think this is another PLTR style oversell rally potentially to something like 160, and then we'll find out what happens. But yeah, a lot of stuff there. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for getting us to 200,000. From all of us here at the team of FX Evolution, I want to say thank you very much. And yeah, we'll hopefully bring you some more information. I am working a little bit on fear stuff this year. I think that I've been able to eliminate most of my fear concepts in markets, but it wasn't easy. It took a long time. It took years of brutal punishment to to both good trades and bad trades and all those types of things to get rid of it. So, how do you eliminate fear? Well, I think it's an understanding of markets, but it's probably the most important thing actually when it comes to life in some ways. So, it's a very, very interesting one. I want to look into how possibly we can help educate people on improving your kind of like I guess like a um, propensity to be attacked by fear and greed, the two most strong emotions in trading and investing. Either way, guys, remember temperament is key. If it's in the press, it's in the price. Patience, react, don't predict. We'll see you at the end of today with the close show after we find out how we end up closing today, and kind of hope just the 200 gets hit now at this stage. We are in an above 5,700, which is pushing those options through. And you can see here it makes sense because there are quite a lot of puts underneath and they are going to lose their money most likely. And that's not surprising. The next session, we've got 5,700 puts as well for the 25th. So again, wouldn't be surprised to hold above those. If we do cascade waterfall, it'll be different, but for now it's bullish. Thank you guys. Catch you for now, and we will see you next week live. We'll see you at the end of today in video form. Cheers. Bye for now.